What if I told you that failure isn't your enemy? It's your greatest teacher. In life, sometimes you win, but other times you learn. Welcome back to the channel. And today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful books on personal growth and success. Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn by John C. Maxwell. John Maxwell says, the difference between average people and achieving people is their perception of and response to failure. So if you've ever failed, made a mistake, or faced rejection, this video is for you. The book is built around one powerful idea. You either win or you learn. You never lose unless you fail to grow. Maxwell walks us through 11 essential lessons we must learn from failure, and how each one turns pain into progress. Lesson 1. Humility, the spirit of learning. What does this mean? This principle is all about starting your learning journey with the right mindset, and that mindset is humility. Let's be honest, no one knows everything, but many people pretend they do, and that's exactly what stops them from growing. In the book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn, John C. Maxwell tells us that the first step to truly learning from our losses is to have humility. So what is humility? It's the ability to say, I don't know everything, and I'm willing to learn. It's letting go of your ego, of that voice inside your head that says, I already know this, I don't need help. Ego is the enemy of growth. Think of ego like a closed door. It blocks new information, it pushes away feedback, and it makes you defensive. But humility? Humility opens that door wide. It turns the whole world into your classroom. Everyone you meet, every experience you go through, even your failures, become your teachers. When you're humble, you don't just ask, why did this happen to me? You ask, what can I learn from this? And that is when real transformation begins. So, if you truly want to grow, to rise after failure, to become stronger, smarter, and better, you must start with humility. That's the spirit of learning. That's where winning truly begins. Key takeaways to emphasize. Humility allows you to accept your mistakes and learn from them. Ego makes you believe you're already good enough and stops you from improving. Every failure has a lesson, but you can only see it when you approach life with a humble heart. Humility doesn't mean weakness. It means being strong enough to admit that you're still a work in progress. Lesson 2. Reality, the foundation of learning. What does this mean? John C. Maxwell emphasizes that facing the truth about yourself, your mistakes, your weaknesses, and your failures is the first step to true personal growth. Most people like to stay in their comfort zones. They create excuses, blame others, or avoid thinking about their failures because it's painful or uncomfortable. But Maxwell says, face the facts, even when it hurts. That's the only way you grow. If you deny reality, you become blind to what needs to change. If you accept reality, even if it's hard, you open the door to learning and improvement. Example to understand. Imagine a student fails a math test. If the student says, the teacher doesn't like me or the exam was unfair, they're avoiding reality. But if the student says, I didn't study enough or I didn't understand the concepts, they are facing the truth. This honest reflection becomes a foundation for future success because now they can take action, study harder, ask for help, or change their habits. Why is reality the foundation? Because learning begins with awareness. You cannot change what you're not aware of. Think of it like building a house. If the foundation is weak, meaning you're in denial, the whole house, your learning, growth, and success, becomes unstable. But if the foundation is solid, meaning you face reality, everything you build upon it becomes stronger and more durable. What stops us from facing reality? 1. Ego. We don't want to admit we were wrong. 2. Fear of failure. We are afraid of what others might think. 3. Pain. Facing mistakes is emotionally tough. But Maxwell insists these short-term pains are necessary for long-term growth. He says, if we don't face reality, we are choosing to stay stuck. How to apply this in your life? 1. Be brutally honest with yourself. In any failure, ask, what did I do wrong? What can I learn from this? 2. Seek feedback. Let others give you their perspective. Sometimes others can see what we cannot. 3. Avoid excuses. Blaming circumstances or people delays growth. 4. Turn pain into purpose. Use every disappointment as a lesson. Every great learner started by facing the truth. The more honest you are about your reality, the faster and better you will learn, grow, and succeed. Lesson 3. Responsibility. At its core, taking responsibility means owning your actions, especially when things go wrong. It's about standing up and saying, "Yes, I made that mistake. It was my fault, but I'm willing to learn from it and do better next time." Why is it important? When we fail or face setbacks, we have two choices. 1. Blame others. "It's not my fault. The system was unfair. He didn't do his job properly. I failed because of them." 2. Take responsibility. "I didn't prepare enough. I made a wrong decision. I misunderstood the situation. I could have done better." Blame puts the focus outside yourself. That means you also give away your power to improve. You stay stuck in the past, repeating the same mistakes. Responsibility, on the other hand, puts the focus within, and that's where real growth begins. Responsibility turns a loss into a lesson. Blame keeps you stuck in the past. This line is gold. Let's understand it deeply. When you blame, you avoid growth. You stay in the same cycle. When you accept responsibility, even painful experiences become your teachers. It's not just about saying, "I'm wrong." It's about saying, "I'm ready to learn something from this." Example, imagine you fail an important exam. If you blame the teacher or say the paper was unfair, you don't improve. But if you say, "I didn't study smart. I need to change my methods," then next time you can actually perform better. How to practice responsibility. 1. Reflect. After a mistake, ask yourself, what could I have done differently? 2. Be honest. Don't sugarcoat it. Be real with yourself. 3. Don't justify. Don't make excuses. Focus on solutions, not sympathy. 4. Take action. Use the lesson to create a better result next time. There's one truth we often ignore. You can't grow from a failure you refuse to own. In life, the first step to learning is taking responsibility. Don't blame others. Don't play the victim. When you blame, you stay stuck. But when you own your mistake, you open the door to change. So remember, every failure comes with a lesson, if you're brave enough to take responsibility for it. Lesson 4. Improvement, the focus of learning. Every failure is a feedback. Don't ask why it happened. Ask how you can get better. Constant improvement is what separates winners from whiners. Every failure is a feedback. Failures are not dead ends. They're signals. Instead of labeling them as final or negative, treat them as valuable information. Think of it like this. If you're driving and take a wrong turn, your GPS doesn't say you're hopeless. It just recalculates. In life, failure is your internal GPS saying, "Hey, that didn't work. Try a different route." Maxwell emphasizes that feedback, especially from failure, teaches us where we went wrong and what to do next time. But we need to listen to that feedback without getting emotional. Don't ask why it happened. Ask how you can get better. Most people get stuck in the "why me" trap. Why did this happen to me? Why am I always unlucky? Why can't I succeed? But asking why often leads to blame, regret, or excuses. Instead, shift your mindset to, how can I improve from this? What lesson can I apply next time? How can I grow stronger, wiser, or more prepared? This switch changes your focus from blaming the past to building the future. Constant improvement is what separates winners from whiners. Maxwell draws a clear line here. Whiners complain, blame, and stay stuck in self-pity. Winners reflect, learn, and improve, even when they fall. Improvement is not a one-time event. It's a daily habit. The best athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, they all share one thing. They constantly upgrade themselves. You don't have to make massive changes overnight. Even 1% better every day leads to huge growth over time. This is called the power of compounding. When you fail, don't get emotional, get educational. Ask yourself, what didn't work? What could I do differently? What part of this is in my control? Make learning your mindset and growth your habit, and you'll turn every failure into fuel for future success. Lesson 5. Hope, the motivation of learning. When you're on a journey of personal growth and facing constant failures or setbacks, hope becomes your emotional fuel. In this chapter, John C. Maxwell explains that hope isn't just wishful thinking. It's a powerful force that keeps you moving forward, even when nothing seems to be going your way. Hope keeps you going when failure knocks you down. This line means that when failure hits, and it will hit, you need something inside you to keep going. That something is hope. Think about the times when things didn't work out. Maybe your goals felt unreachable. Maybe people didn't believe in you. Maybe you stopped believing in yourself. In those dark moments, hope is what whispers, "It's not over yet. You still got a chance." Maxwell emphasizes that hope gives you emotional strength. It doesn't solve your problems, but it keeps your heart in the game. It fuels the belief that your best days are still ahead. This is the core of hopeful thinking. When you're hopeful, you believe that what's coming is better than what's gone. Your failures are not permanent. Your struggles are shaping you for something greater. That belief gives you the motivation to keep learning, to try again, and to grow from your losses. Hope is not a strategy, but it is a motivator. Maxwell is being very real here. He says, don't confuse hope with planning. Hope won't give you a roadmap. It won't give you skills, and it won't hand you success. But what it will do is this. It'll give you the emotional fire to keep going while you build your strategy. You still need to take action. You need discipline, learning, and smart moves. But without hope, your efforts feel empty. Summary of key ideas from Lesson 5. 1. Hope doesn't replace effort, but it powers your effort. 2. It helps you bounce back from failure emotionally. 3. It keeps you looking ahead with a sense of purpose and possibility. 4. Hope feeds your desire to learn because you believe learning will lead to something better. 5. Even when you have no clear strategy, hope helps you stay in the game until you find one. Lesson 6. Teachability, the pathway to learning from the book. Teachability, the pathway to learning. What is teachability? Teachability means having the desire and willingness to learn, regardless of your age, experience, or achievements. It's the mindset of saying, I don't know everything, and that's okay. It's about staying open to new ideas, feedback, and even criticism. A teachable person is humble enough to admit they still have a lot to learn, and smart enough to know that learning can happen anywhere, at any time. Okay, why is teachability important in failure and growth? In the journey of life, especially when we fail or face setbacks, our reaction to those failures determines whether we grow or stay stuck. John Maxwell says, you can't learn from mistakes if you're not willing to admit you made them. Being teachable means you accept your failures, reflect on what went wrong, look for lessons instead of excuses, apply those lessons to grow stronger. Without teachability, failure becomes just pain. With teachability, failure becomes progress. What can I learn here? Your power question. Every situation, even the toughest or most boring, holds a lesson. That's why Maxwell urges us to always ask, what can I learn here? Miss a job opportunity? Learn what to improve. Got harsh feedback? Learn how to handle critique with grace. Had a falling out with someone? Learn how to communicate better next time. Even people you don't like or disagree with can teach you something about patience, emotional control, or different perspectives. Teachability turns life itself into a classroom. The more teachable you are, the more unstoppable you become. Think of the most successful people, athletes, entrepreneurs, creators. They never stop learning. They read books. They listened to mentors. They reflect on their failures. They constantly refine themselves. And because of this, they keep leveling up faster than others. Teachability makes you unstoppable because you're always growing, adapting, and improving. Enemies of teachability. Maxwell also warns about certain attitudes that kill teachability. 1. Pride, thinking you already know it all. 2. Fear of looking weak, not wanting to admit your mistakes. 3. Insecurity, being too afraid to try so you don't risk failing. 4. Closed-mindedness, rejecting new ideas too quickly. If you spot these in yourself, fight them. Replace them with curiosity, humility, and courage. Lesson 6. Teachability, the pathway to learning. Imagine having a superpower that turns every failure into a lesson and every setback into a setup for a comeback. That power? It's called teachability. Teachability means you're always learning, always growing, always asking, what can I learn here? Even when life punches you in the gut, you look for the lesson. Because here's the truth. The more teachable you are, the more unstoppable you become. The most successful people, they're not the smartest or the luckiest. They're the most teachable. So drop the ego, stay curious, and let life be your classroom. Lesson 7. Adversity, the catalyst for learning. Adversity isn't something to avoid. It's something to embrace. Why? Because it's the best teacher in life. What is adversity? Adversity refers to difficulties, setbacks, failures, or painful situations we all face. Losing a job, facing rejection, a business collapsing, health problems, emotional struggles, etc. But instead of seeing these as roadblocks, Maxwell wants us to see them as springboards. Why is adversity a catalyst for learning? A catalyst is something that speeds up a process. In this case, growth and learning. Adversity forces you out of your comfort zone, challenges your thinking, and strengthens your emotional and mental muscles. You become wiser not in spite of the pain, but because of it. Maxwell's famous line, a setback is a setup for a comeback. That means every failure contains a seed of a powerful comeback, if you're willing to learn from it. Think about it. Some of the greatest success stories started with deep struggle. Adversity becomes a turning point. What do you gain from adversity? Here's what Maxwell says adversity helps build. 1. Grit, the mental toughness to keep going when it's hard. 2. Character, the inner strength to do what's right, not easy. 3. Perspective, understanding what really matters in life. 4. Empathy, becoming more understanding and compassionate. 5. Resilience, the ability to bounce back stronger. Real learning happens in painful moments. When everything is easy, we get lazy or overconfident. But when things go wrong, we are forced to reflect, adapt, and grow. Maxwell says, the best leaders are often shaped by the toughest losses. So don't curse your pain. Study it. Learn from it. Let it make you better, not bitter. Examples to use in your video. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 plus times before inventing the light bulb. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter. Their adversity shaped their future victories. Don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? In life, we often run from pain. We avoid failure. But John Maxwell says, what if the struggle is not your enemy, but your teacher? In his book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn, Maxwell teaches that adversity is a catalyst for real growth. He puts it simply, a setback is a setup for a comeback. Every hardship builds your grit, strengthens your character, and expands your wisdom. Think about it. We never grow in our comfort zones. We grow when life gets uncomfortable. So the next time you're facing a challenge, don't run. Lean in, learn, and remind yourself, this is not the end. It's the beginning of a powerful comeback. Lesson 8. Problems. Behind every problem lies a hidden opportunity. And the most successful people in the world don't run away from problems. They run toward them. John C. Maxwell teaches us that problems are not roadblocks. They are stepping stones. Each problem is a test of our creativity, our patience, and our mindset. When you face a challenge, your mind has two choices, panic or problem solve. The more problems you face, the more creative and wise you become. Just like sharpening a knife, problems sharpen your thinking. Great leaders don't avoid problems. They embrace them because they know Every problem carries within it the seeds of growth and opportunity. So next time life throws a problem at you, don't ask why me, ask what can I learn from this. Because sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. In-depth explanation of Lesson 8. Problems. The opportunities for learning. Let's now explore this lesson in detail, so you fully understand its depth and power. 1. Problems are inevitable. Maxwell starts by acknowledging a simple truth. Life is full of problems. There is no one, no matter how successful, who doesn't face them. But the difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck is how they react to those problems. Most people fear problems. Why? Because they bring discomfort, uncertainty, and pain. But Maxwell shifts the perspective and says, problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines. 2. Every problem hides an opportunity. This is the core idea. Behind every tough situation, there's a lesson or an opportunity. Sometimes it's a chance to develop a new skill. Sometimes it's a wake-up call to improve your character or make better choices. Sometimes it's the opportunity to create something new. Think about inventors or entrepreneurs. They often solve problems through innovation. Without problems, there would be no need for creativity. 3. Problems sharpen your creativity. Maxwell says that problems force us to think outside the box. When everything is going smoothly, we rarely grow. But when we face challenges, we're forced to develop new strategies, tools, and solutions. Just like lifting heavy weights builds muscle, handling difficult problems builds your mental and emotional strength. 4. Problems improve decision-making. When you're faced with tough choices, you learn how to make better decisions. You become more thoughtful, more aware, and more strategic. Each problem is like a personal coach pushing you to become sharper and wiser. Maxwell gives examples of great leaders who thrive during difficult times, not because they have fewer problems, but because they learn from them. 5. Great leaders don't avoid problems, they solve them. This is a leadership principle. Weak leaders avoid conflict, deny challenges, or blame others. But strong leaders, they confront problems. They analyze them. They act to solve them. They know that growth is on the other side of the problem. 6. The learning mindset. Ask the right question. When a problem hits, most people ask, why me? What did I do to deserve this? But Maxwell says we should ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? That mindset changes everything. So Lesson 8 teaches us, don't fear problems. Face them. Don't resist learning. Embrace it. Because in every setback, there's a setup for your comeback. This section 9, bad experiences, the perspective for learning. Bad experiences are inevitable, but whether we learn from them is a choice. Don't run from pain, learn from it. What it means: painful experiences in life, failure, rejection, embarrassment, betrayal, loss, are not things to be avoided at all costs. Instead of running away from them or pretending they didn't happen, we should face them head on. Why it's important: pain is a great teacher. If you ignore it, you miss the lesson. But if you embrace it, it can sharpen your understanding, develop your resilience, and grow your character. Example: think of how muscles grow. They tear under pressure and then rebuild stronger. Your mindset works the same. When you experience emotional or personal pain, your perspective grows if you let it. Every scar has a story, and every story can inspire. What it means: the emotional or metaphorical scars you carry from difficult times aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of survival and growth. Why it's important: those scars represent moments where you struggled, learned, and kept going. Sharing these stories can uplift others who are going through similar experiences. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with struggle, truth, and recovery. When you tell your story honestly, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you human, strong, and relatable. Use bad experiences to build better judgment. What it means: after bad experience, ask, what went wrong? What was my role? What can I do differently next time? Why it's important: reflection turns mistakes into wisdom. The more you learn from each mistake, the better you get at making decisions in the future. Compass, think of it this way. Every time you fail and reflect, it's like updating your inner GPS. Next time you're faced with a similar challenge, your experience will guide you toward better choices. This chapter reminds us that pain is not the enemy. It's a mentor. Scars aren't shameful. They're proof you're growing. Learning from bad experiences makes you wiser, stronger, and more impactful. If you do the right thing and keep doing it, success will follow, and learning from your losses is part of doing the right thing. Lesson 10. Change, the price of learning. Growth demands change. If you want a better life, you must be willing to change your habits, mindset, and surroundings. This chapter emphasizes a powerful truth. Personal growth is impossible without change. Why is change important? Whenever we go through failures or setbacks, they push us into a situation where we have to reflect, reevaluate, and adjust. That adjustment is where change begins. Without change, we remain stuck in the same cycle, repeating mistakes, never improving, never growing. What kind of changes are we talking about? Maxwell breaks it down into 3 key areas. 1. Change your habits. Our daily habits create our future. If you want to become more disciplined, more successful, or more fulfilled, you need to upgrade your habits. For example, if you constantly procrastinate or waste hours on social media, you're feeding failure. But if you develop habits like reading, exercising, reflecting, or practicing gratitude, you're feeding success. Small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. John Maxwell. 2. Change your mindset. Many people stay stuck in failure because they have a fixed mindset. They believe things are the way they are and can't be changed. But learning and growth require a growth mindset, believing that with effort, learning, and time, you can improve anything. For instance, fixed mindset. I'm just not good at public speaking. Growth mindset. I can become a great speaker if I practice and learn. Changing your mindset from negative to positive, from fixed to flexible, opens a door to unlimited learning and self-improvement. 3. Change your surroundings. Maxwell says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with negative, lazy, or unmotivated people, you will absorb that energy. If you want to grow, you need to intentionally spend time with people who challenge you, inspire you, hold you accountable, believe in personal growth. Changing your environment can dramatically impact your learning curve, the resistance to change. But here's the catch. Change is hard. Why? It's uncomfortable. It demands effort. It pushes you into the unknown. It requires you to let go of who you used to be. Many people fear change because it makes them feel out of control. But Maxwell says, if you're not willing to change, you're not willing to grow. Change is the entry fee to a better version of yourself. If you're serious about learning from your losses, then you're going to have to break bad habits, shift your mindset, let go of toxic relationships and environments. Change is not just something you do once. It's something you must embrace over and over throughout your journey of growth. Lesson 10 of Sometimes You Win. Sometimes You Learn teaches a hard but essential truth. Growth demands change. If you want a better life, you must be willing to change your habits, your mindset, and even your surroundings. Why? Because failure is life's way of pointing out what's not working. And the only way to learn from those failures is to adjust, to grow, and to evolve. If you keep the same bad habits, think the same negative thoughts, and stay around the same unmotivated people, how can you expect different results? Change is painful. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. So ask yourself, what do I need to change today to grow tomorrow? Remember, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, but only if you're willing to change. Lesson 11. Maturity, the value of learning. Maturity in this context isn't just about age or years lived. It's a deeper kind of maturity, the kind that comes from internal growth and wisdom gained by applying lessons learned through experience, especially from failure. Here's what this kind of maturity really means. 1. Learning from mistakes. Mature people don't just experience failure. They process it. They take the time to reflect deeply on what went wrong and extract the lessons. Instead of being discouraged or defensive, they own their mistakes and look for ways to improve. This reflection turns painful experiences into valuable wisdom. 2. Staying steady during storms. Life and work aren't always smooth. Sometimes things get tough. Maturity means emotional resilience, the ability to keep calm and focused even when things seem to be falling apart. Instead of reacting impulsively or losing hope, a mature person stays grounded, maintaining a positive mindset and steady effort. This steadiness inspires confidence in others and helps navigate through uncertainty. 3. Continuing even when results don't come quickly. Often growth and success are slow processes. Results may take weeks, months, or even years. Maturity is about patience and perseverance. Mature individuals understand that quick wins are rare and are willing to put in consistent effort over time without getting discouraged by delayed outcomes. They trust the process, knowing that sustained learning and application eventually lead to success. 4. Applying all previous lessons. Maturity is the culmination of all the earlier lessons in the book: humility, responsibility, reality, hope, teachability, etc. A mature learner doesn't just know these lessons intellectually. They live them daily. They take feedback, face reality honestly, remain hopeful, and adapt through change, all while keeping a calm and patient mindset. This holistic application of wisdom makes their growth steady, deep, and sustainable. Why is this important? Because without maturity, people can easily get stuck in cycles of frustration, blame, or quitting too soon. They might learn lessons but fail to integrate them into their daily lives. Maturity is what transforms simple learning into lasting success and true personal growth. To sum up, maturity equals wisdom gained by learning deeply from failure and experience. It means reflecting on mistakes without defensiveness. Staying calm and steady through hard times. Being patient and persistent even when progress is slow. Living out all the key lessons consistently in real life. This kind of maturity is the real value of learning. It turns failures into foundations for long-term success and fulfillment. Life isn't about perfection. It's about progression. Remember, you will fail. That's inevitable. But if you learn from it, you're still moving forward. If this summary inspired you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more motivational book breakdowns. And tell us in the comments, what's the biggest lesson you learned from failure?